G'day, guys. This is Jay from Journey of a Whitefeather. Chat with Jay. Remove your mask, write the story, opinions and views. I keep going. This is the Robin Hood effect, I guess, in some ways. This is why I went with the Robin Hood effect. If everyone understands why and how Robin Hood came about, take from the rich, give to the poor. We've got one of my very close friends and one person that I believe can actually help so many people, not just with their wealth, but with their awareness and becoming a better person. You'll see what I mean when I chat to this great man. I met him around about 8 to 9 months ago, and the change in myself, which we'll talk about when I introduce him, you'll wonder, go, hang on, what's going on here? Because there is a bit of a world out there that people are waking up, ladies and gentlemen. And this man here is part of the reason he's going to help humanity and help people become wealthier, but also wealthier physically, but also wealthier spiritually or within themselves. And I think that's a big thing. I'd like to do a big welcome to my friend Sam, founder of Liberty Bullion. Yep, gold and silver, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Sam. I'm really excited to have you on board, my friend. I think, as I said, that's the intro. I wrote that out actually today because I think you're doing, what you've done for me and a lot of other people, mate. I just want to say up front, thank you very much and welcome to the show.
What an intro it was, Jay. Really appreciate you having me on. It's been a journey. It's been awesome to watch yourself and others grow along the way as well. I like what you were saying about it's not just wealth; it's also spiritual. There's definitely a spiritual side of what we do, and just waking everybody up, getting them aware as to what's going on around them and how to prepare for it, how to, dare I say, profit from it as an investor. I mean, that's how I can help, right? I mean, I'm not a surgeon, I'm not a pilot, I can't fly a plane, but I can help people with their wealth and help them grow their wealth in an increasingly unstable financial world at the very least. Also, just an increasingly unstable world, but specifically an increasingly unstable financial world.
Absolutely. So it was interesting when we met, Sam. I'll get to first of all. Let's hold it off. Let's get to know you first, my friend. You gave us a wonderful speech with I'm going to give our friend Tim from Beat the Reset, another wonderful individual, ladies and gentlemen. Sam came on. I think it was we went in October or something last year. I think it was. Sam came on and gave a wonderful speech about gold and silver, but why? And he hasn't let us down. I said, for me, a trustworthy individual, but his words are true. And the speech he gave was just honest. Tell us a little bit about yourself first, Sam, and then we'll get right into the nitty gritty about gold and silver.
Yeah, well, look, again, appreciate everything you said there, Jay. It's a pleasure to share my knowledge with everybody, yourself included, of course, and help you along your way. For me, who I am, my name is Sam Lawrie. I was born in Darwin, up in the Northern Territory, so I'm a Territorian. I spent 10 years growing up in the Middle East, which gave me quite an international outlook on the world and how things kind of work. Over there, gold and silver as well are much more popular and common than they are here in Australia. So there's much more awareness over there, I guess, about this stuff. People buy it in massive quantity over there. And again, you live over there long enough, you'll figure out why. So being able to come back to Australia, after I came back, I studied finance and economics at Melbourne University, which you may think means that I'm very intelligent. I don't really see it that way. Most of the stuff I learned at uni was out of garbage, out of rubbish. But I paid for it with real dollars regardless. So maybe not as smart as some people might think, but that's the story there. After that, I started working in financial services. Figured I'd put the finance degree to use. Started off working in an algorithmic trading company that helping clients build algorithms to trade the markets for them, specifically the forex markets, the foreign exchange markets, and the gold markets, which was my first introduction to gold. Worked at a number of different financial services companies over the years, CFD brokers, which is like leverage trading, essentially gambling at the metaphorical casino on the markets, stock analysis, so helping clients pick stocks for their portfolios. So I've worked across a number of different parts of the financial services industry, but where I found my home was in bullion, was financial products and services that are physical physical gold, physical silver, physical platinum, coins and bars. And the reason that I've fallen in love with it so much, there's a few reasons which I'll step out for your lovely viewers. But essentially, it was falling in love with honest money, with money that holds its value for thousands and thousands of years, an asset that typically performs extremely well during periods of high inflation, which is what we're seeing across the world at the moment, cost of living crisis, whatever you'd like to call it. And it protects people from the money printer, and money's the wrong word to use there, the currency printer, but it protects people from a runaway currency printer, which is what we're seeing at the moment. Governments around the world running huge government deficits, budget deficits, and financing them with cash they print out of thin air from the printer. So that's why we've got this massive cost of living crisis. That's why we've got tent cities in places like Queensland, and that is why I love bullion, is that what I sell for a living protects my clients and whoever else buys from other people. It protects them from the currency printer, and therefore protects them from the government. Because here's the thing, right? You might say to me, Sam, I understand that banks are a precarious place to put my money. My grandfather told me not to trust banks. That's why I've pulled it out, taken it home and put it under the metaphorical pillow or the mattress. Well, that's great, but those dollars get printed out of thin air by central banks, right, across the world. They print them out of thin air. Is that really something you want to hold on to for a long period of time underneath your mattress for years and years? Absolutely not. What's the answer? The answer is holding gold and silver under the metaphorical mattress, because that stuff has been climbing in price in dollar terms. It's held its value. Again, it's held its value for 5,000 years. So it's a way of holding your wealth outside of the banking system, which is precarious at the best of times. And it's keeping it in a form that is protected against the money printer. And, we've seen the price of gold in Aussie dollars go up 40% last year in 2024. It's up 22% for the year this year in 2025 so far. We're only 5 months in, or 4 months in, actually. We're in month number 5 now. So it's had extremely good performance over the years, which has meant that my clients have, quote unquote, made a lot of money. They've protected their wealth and grown their wealth, which is the more important way of thinking about it. And they've done so in a way in which they've taken zero counterparty risk. You can hold this stuff physically at home, and you just have to trust yourself. Or you can take it into a vault, store it with the vault, trust the vault, and a vault is a lot more trustworthy than a bank. A bank is filled with bad people that want to steal what you've got. So that's my 2 cents on banks. I hate banks. I know it's a strong word. I try not to use it too often, but I really do hate them.
I know. Wait for the Patreon exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. There's a plug for it. Get ready for it.
That's it. Well, when I unload on banks, mate, bloody hell. So we'll keep that for the Patreon. But I'll let people know now. I dislike them strongly. And what I do for a living is I help people get away from them. I help people get their wealth away from this system designed to rob you, and put it into a system that's designed to hold your wealth and grow it over time.
Absolutely. So the people might watch this and go, he's trying to sell me something. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, you got to do your research. I've got a friend of mine, Rid's Opinion, in Sydney. Now, he's one of us. And what I say to people, do your research. Mm-hmm. Whatever Sam is talking about tonight, do your research and look into it. It is a scary thing. I get it. But this man here knows his stuff. He's not talking absolute crap. I can tell you that right now. Not the Aussie crap, mate. It's not that. You really have to look and study what's going on and understand basic financial, I guess, terms. Is that the way what I would say, Sam? Would that be correct?
Yeah. Look, you're absolutely right. And I am for anybody, whether it be a prospective new client or a random off the street or a family member looking into it and asking my opinion. Anybody, I say, do your own research on this stuff. I'll give you my opinion. I'll read off fact after fact until I bore you silly. But you need to go home and just check me. Just fact check me. Just make sure the things that I'm saying are true, because at the end of the day, this is your money, not mine. I've already parked my money in gold and silver, and that's doing very well. That's not what the question is here. It's you. So you should always do your own research. Check what I'm saying is true. I know you'll find it out to be true. And then from there, make your own decision. Don't necessarily just base it off what I'm saying. Of course, what I'm saying is great, but make your own decision based on your own research. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we always say like make better choices. I think I'm just quoting someone. Hint, hint, Tim, how are you? But it's do your own research, make good choices. But we're making informed choices there, Sam. I mean, I never knew about this stuff. I really didn't. I knew that okay, gold and silver and all that until I saw Tim on Instagram, and I thought, hang on, I'm into this stuff. I know what's going on out there, right? But I didn't really look really into my backyard. I'm thinking, okay, what's happening around the world, which we'll go into in the Patreon exclusive because there's going to be stuff there we're going to bring up, and it's just it has to go on there. That's the way it is. But then when I met him, I've gone, hang on a minute, this stuff does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he quotes off common law, the Common Law Act, all the acts that he comes off, and then you guys came on.
Mm.
What was your intention when you first started with Tim? Did you have the sense of what was happening out there, Sam, or
Yes.
yeah, what was your and what is your angle at the moment? I mean, we know what's going on. So what I'm going to ask you is, where did you start from? You go, right, hang on a minute, this is where I'm going. And now it's sort of, I guess it's changing every single day. I mean, we'll give a big shout out to Bisha. You're coming on with Bitcoin and crypto. There's so many flaws and I wouldn't say flaws, but we're saying things that are misleading out there, I guess, in a big way. How do you cope with that? And where are you going with this? Because there must be an element of you're watching what's going on and where you were, and now you've made this big jump. And I think probably in the last year or so, it's been pretty sufficient. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely, absolutely. The last year is we've just gone from zero to hero. I mean, it's grown exponentially, and particularly the things that I'm doing with Tim and Bishop, like you're saying there. My where I started with and what my intention was going into it with a guy like Tim, was he had this huge following on Instagram, lots of people listening to what he's saying, particularly about monetary systems. So I knew that our message was very aligned from day one. That we're not reading off the same script because we're two individual men of our own minds, but that our minds would meet, that we were very similar and we had a very similar message to share with the public. And
okay, what's that message? I'm going to cut you off right there. What's that message right now? What would you say?
For me, the message is get out of the banks, stop trusting your bank, stop trusting your government, stop trusting your media, buy real money. Buy money that's been money for 5,000 years. Buy zero counterparty risk, inflation hedge assets to get you and your family to the other side of what's about to happen. And I know that a lot of people in the freedom movement are aware of what's going on around the world from government tyranny, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of them are aware of, say, central bank digital currency, that idea being brought in and built out by the Bank for International Settlements, the central bank for central banks. So they're aware of the big issues at play, but they're not aware necessarily of how it all fits together and what the answer is for themselves. And the answer is, ladies and gentlemen, let me skip to the punch for this one. Gold and silver, physical gold, physical silver, wealth outside the system, stuff that's been money for 5,000 years. The entire financial system is literally based on this stuff. It's stemmed from gold and silver. So this is the answer. When the system around you is looking precarious and about to crumble, and inflation's running real high, and governments are running up massive deficits, and no one knows how to pay for it, and politicians are just promising more and more stuff, and no one cares about how to pay for it. The deficit's huge. No one even talks about bringing it down. That tells you where we're at as a society. That tells you where we're at economically, financially, and that tells you, in a way, what to do next. And the answer is batten down the hatches and get ready, because what's about to happen in a world like the one we're in is about to get crazy. I say hyperinflation is coming. Hyperinflation is huge. Hyperinflation is the collapse of the currency. It's hard for people to conceptualize the currency going to zero. In the last time we had a hyperinflation in the West was 1923 in Weimar, Germany. So what happened back then? Their currency collapsed. By the end of the hyperinflation, guys were carrying around wheelbarrows filled with cash, wheelbarrows, and they'd leave it outside of a store. They'd come out. Someone would have stolen the wheelbarrow and left the cash. The cash was worthless. The people were wallpapering their houses with cash. Kids were playing with kites with made out of cash. They had Lego, blocks essentially of cash that they built little forts out of. People would burn cash to stay warm. There was cash in the gutters, guys. Like it's super hard for the average Australian to conceptualize a world in which the currency loses its value completely. But that's it. It's when cash becomes worthless. So, say you got $1 million in the bank, that might make you feel really good right now. But a world in which $1 million doesn't even buy you, an orange at Woolies, you're all of a sudden not so happy. And you've still got $1 million, right? But what's happened is that $1 million doesn't buy you anything anymore. And you can see the truth in what I'm saying on a slower time frame with inflation, that $1 million doesn't buy you what it used to 20 years ago. But what I'm talking about is a very short time frame where the currency halves in value in a day, or even bigger drops than that, which is just insane for most people to even be able to conceptualize. But that's what happens when we run up insane debts in fiat currency systems that we can't pay back. The currency eventually collapses.
I'd like to take this time to shout out our supporters at Liberty Bullion, the best gold, silver and platinum traders in Melbourne, even Australia. If you want to give them a call, their knowledge, their customer service is second to none. Back to the show. Mate, and when you talk about this, your stuff like what it is. That's not the issue there, but when you become aware, and we're talking about mindset coaching here, which is what I do a fair bit of, and when people come to me and ask me, how did you get out of your dark place and what happened? The main thing is mindset coaching. So if you look at something like now, where my mindset is and what I'm feeding my mind, and this goes into what we're talking about, back 5 years ago, I would have looked at it and gone, okay, I wouldn't have discredited you, but doing the research and opening your mind for yourself and understand and do it and really looking into what's happening. And then your words will go, hang on a minute. Okay, that resonates with me. Go and do some research on it. And you can't come back. You can't not say they're lying. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. And that's the power of research. And that's the power of telling people to do their own research. Is, again, I can sit here and I can talk history, I can talk economics, finance, I can, talk about bond markets and fiat currencies and, stock markets until the cows come home. But I'm just talking. It's when people fact check what I say, go and do the research for themselves, and then start to form their own opinion using multiple data points. They go, wow. Why was I not taught about this stuff at school? That's a great question. I was never taught about central banks or monetary policy or fiat currency or, all this stuff in school. And even at uni, Melbourne Uni for finance and economics, they taught me nothing about gold or silver, nothing, right? So for me, I asked the question, I went to school all the way through to the university system, all the way through to the end there to learn about money. And they didn't teach me about money, but they charged me a lot of money in order to learn about not money, but money, right? It's insanity. So for me,
it makes sense, doesn't it?
Right? I understand that the average person doesn't know about this stuff. And it's by design, ladies and gentlemen, it's by design. Think about it like this. Back in primary school, you had the Dolomites, right? The Dolomites, when they came in and they gave you a little envelope and you put your cash in it and they say, oh, now you get to earn an interest rate. Woo, an interest rate. Your money in the bank grows every year. Just by a little bit, but it grows. How good's that? That's disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. That's disgusting. That was the bank, the evil, disgusting bank, sending their representatives, their agents in to brainwash your 6-year-olds. You were the 6-year-old in this scenario, but it was your parents' 6-year-olds. The bank was brainwashing you at a young age. So, why aren't they sending bullion dealers like me into primary schools? Oh, come on, guys. What do you think? You think they're going to send someone like me into a primary school? Come on, man. Come on.
Well, you're not wrong there. And this is the thing, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to what Sam's saying. And he's passionate about what he says. And this is I would sit back and take a deep breath and have a look. And the thing is, we will go into the Patreon. This is why we're holding everything off for the Patreon one, because we are going to let fly All right, I know a lot myself, so we're going to let fly. So we'll put the link up. But tell us a little bit about more about the gold and silver now, with regards to self-managed super funds. I mean, now again, let's just keep it at a level here. Super funds, okay, it's 10% of your income or whatever it may be that goes into a super fund, and they invest it, get you money to retire. Okay, now I always say, fantastic idea until you put muddy hands in there, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So why aren't they encouraging people to do self manage? I never knew about gold and silver, about you could invest it. I go, even with property, you could go, oh, you probably can't live in it and all that kind of stuff. But what you're doing, what Bish is doing, it was a no-no. You go, you can't do that. Yes, you can. Tell us all about it.
Absolutely. So a lot of people they ask questions like, I've got my super, can I buy gold and silver with it? And the answer is not directly. If you're in an industry super fund, no, you cannot buy gold and silver. These guys won't let you. Why not? That's a topic for another time. Maybe the Patreon, maybe. But getting back to what I was saying there is, with these super funds, they enjoy having your money to play with. They can put it into the companies that they like, whether that's political or financial, or whether they think it's a good investment, or whether they're mates with the guy who runs it. Who's to say, right? Who's to say? These portfolio managers make their decisions away from the public light. So they love having it. And these super funds are also very politically connected to the unions, and through the Labor Party. So, you know you got to just think about it from a holistic perspective there. I liked what you say about it being a good idea on the front of it, forcing Australians to save. I don't like forcing people to do anything. I don't think that's a good thing to do. But
We'll say allow. We'll say allow. It's a good idea to help people along for their
yeah,
retirement. You have a good
yeah,
retirement. Enjoy your golden years.
yeah. How
But
could you be against that, right? How could you be
correct.
against that?
But
But But in practice, it can be done better. And you ask me, Sam, how can it be done better? Well, let's say that you've done a lot of research into gold and silver. You've done a lot of research into cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. You've fallen in love with these assets. You think they're going to do really well moving forward. But you think to yourself, damn, I have no currency. I have no dollars to invest here. I only have a super fund that can't buy this stuff or won't buy this stuff for me. Okay, what next? The answer is self-managed super funds. You set up a self-managed super fund. Takes about 6 to 8 weeks. You got to do it with an accountant. Costs a couple $1,000s to set
can
it
I give
up.
a can I give a plug to PBS accountants right here, please? Because
Yep.
they're the ones I've been recommending. So I apologise for jumping in there, but I think PBS accountants with Mark Evans. Thank you so
Yep.
much for all your help, mate. You'll get a massive plug. Keep going. Sorry about that, Sam.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, good on you, Mark. I'm on good terms with Mark as well. Great guy, has helped a lot of my clients set up their SMSFs. But moving right along, once you've set up your SMSF, you roll your funds out of your industry super fund, bang, into your SMSF bank account. At which point you have complete and utter freedom as to which investments you would like to invest in. You could put all of that money into gold and silver if you so choose, or you can split some of it into gold and silver and some of it into cryptocurrency. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You could buy shares in that SMSF. You could even buy property in that SMSF if you so choose. It is your investment money. You decide what you want to do with it. Now, I believe in freedom first and foremost. Liberty Bullion. I mean, it's in the bloody name, right? So
Absolutely, mate. Bloody oath.
for me, giving people the freedom to do what they want, that's an instant win. Now, the second part is making sure they know what to do with it. And to me, that comes from research. So I always say research, research, research. Again, if you listen to me, gold and silver. If you listen to Bisha, he'll talk about cryptocurrency with you and educate you on that. And between us, we've got what I would call the perfect asset portfolio. We've outstripped the stock market, the bond market, the property market, however you want to look at it. Our assets are winning. But hey, research it for yourself. Figure out if what I'm saying is true. Up to you, right? But that's what I'm saying. So self-managed super funds, you can get your money out of the industry super funds, which are in bed with the unions. You can get that money into your own hands. That you decide what to do with it. You're a free man, free country. Whatever you want to do, you go right ahead, mate. And if that so happens to be gold and silver, you give me at Liberty Bullion a call, or another bullion deal. Come on, bring it to me, and I'll get you set up with your gold, your silver, everything. So you can either keep it at home or you can store it in a vault. Completely up to you. That's your decision to make. Free man, free country. And again, that's the beauty of this stuff, is that you are free.
Absolutely. Look, it says it's quite a simple process. And as you said, there's a couple of things that are key points. Number one, we're not pushed that way. Number two, I think people just don't understand it. I mean, even at an adult level, you talk, self-managed super, it's too hard. It's always been too hard. Oh, you got to give it to someone to invest. When you actually sat back and looked at it, this is called awareness, ladies and gentlemen, becoming 100% accountable for your life. This is what I try to teach. This is why I'm honored to have this man on the podcast, because he's talking about tangible assets that you can get within for yourself, for your betterment of yourself and your family, and get sort of in case of getting out of the system. That's the obvious one. But at the end of the day, it's education, and think about what's going on, which we'll talk a little bit about. Now, we're talking a little bit about that, Sam, with regards to Liberty Bullion. Now, let's talk Liberty Bullion. What have you done in the last year or two? Because especially, as I said, it's gone boom. Mm-hmm. What kind of people are you finding that are coming to see you? What are you telling them about gold and silver? Tell us a bit more about gold and silver. We know, I think if I'm right, it was taken off the American dollar in 1933, if I'm correct, and there was nothing backing it, because apparently what Sam was saying was the US dollar had backing of gold, and then suddenly, I think it was 1933, I think something like that. If I'm correct, please tell me if I'm wrong. Gold was taken off. The gold mark was taken off. So then, as we went down, you can print whatever you want because you have nothing backing it. So there's no physical asset backing it. And that's what Sam's been talking about. So tell us a little bit about the rise and what's been happening with regards to Liberty Bullion and the current market, my friend. That's what people will want to know. There's a lot of information going out there. You tell us your side.
Yeah, absolutely. So Liberty Bullion, we've gone from strength to strength over the last year, grown exponentially. What that's mainly been has been us getting out there and educating the public. So whether it's myself hopping on these Instagram lives with Tim, whether it's us touring the country and doing seminars, in Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, Melbourne, getting out across the country and getting in front of people physically. I've sponsored a gold conference within the last couple of months, the Gold Coast Gold Conference. Again, getting in front of investors and talking about this stuff. I've done, street giveaways where I get out on the street and, try and ask people, do you want some physical cash, or do you want some physical silver or some physical gold, and
what do they do, Sam? Let's go to that. Sorry to cut you off that. We're going to go into that one now.
Yes.
Sorry to cut you off there. I just thought I'm going to jump in on that because that is a very, very interesting point. This will tell you about mindset. This is where the mindset coaching comes in. I want you to tell us what happened in Adelaide with regards to the people's mindset when you actually gave them a physical piece of gold or money. I think it was money, wasn't it? I think did you give them all
cash? Yeah.
So cash. I'll let you go with that. Go for it.
Absolutely. And it was fascinating. So, the thing I would ask people is I've got $30 in cash here, 30 Australian dollars, or a 1 ounce silver coin. Which one would you prefer? I just walk up to people, I just ask them, which one would you prefer? Now, a lot of the people picked the coin, and they didn't necessarily know what it was worth, but they said, I can get cash anytime. The coin looks beautiful. The coin looks really nice. How often do you see a silver coin? I'll roll the dice. I'll take the coin. And they were all winners because the coin was worth about double what the cash was. But there were some people that took the cash and they said, I don't know what the coin's worth. At least I know what the cash is worth, and I can spend the cash a bit quicker. It's easier. I'll take the cash. And they still got $33, but they were not winners that day. So it was really interesting to me to see. And look, there were some people that understood the value in gold and silver, and they went straight for it. They said, I know what this stuff's worth. I mean, I know it's worth a lot more than cash. Cash doesn't hold its value. I'm going for the gold and silver, 7 days of the week. good on them. They understood. But even for those who didn't understand and who still went for it, I look at that as it's people who are willing to take the leap into the unknown, willing to try something different, willing to open their mind and just, a bit of curiosity, right? And that played out well for them in that scenario. The best responses I got were from people who they wanted to know what I was doing. Why was I giving away free cash, free silver? What's all this about? Where are you from? Liberty Bullion, what's that? Bullion, what's bullion? What's gold and silver? Why do people buy this stuff? What, does price go up? Oh, price is up. How much? It's that openness to information. Whereas you compare that to giveaways that I did in other cities, like say the Melbourne giveaway, people were quite closed in general. Not that's a broad statement to make across a big city, but statistically, it was a lot harder to give the gold and silver away or the cash away in Melbourne. A lot of people just palm me off. Nah, I'm busy, mate. Nah, I'm busy. And it's like, what? Let me give you some cash. So yeah,
what do you think about that in a mindset way, Sam? Because we look at people these days with the cost of living. We're looking at all those kind of things that are impacting people. We're looking at the information. We're looking at information coming at us. You've got the ego of social media. And then you've got you guys coming in. Well, what's the trend of mindset of people? It doesn't matter what state. Just what are you seeing? What are you seeing? So Make America Great Again hats are being banned. So you can be banned for wearing a hat into a restaurant and inciting violence. We've got people running around with machetes, and people are worried about someone wearing a Make America Great hat again. That's what happened with Captain Baxter. A guy by the name of Andrew was banned from entering the building and eating there. Now, what I say is, because everyone knows I'm the #1 Village People fan in Australia, will YMCA be next? This is the Robin Hood Effect, episode 8. And we're talking about, will the YMCA be banned for ridiculous reasons? This song brought happiness. Now, again, am I going to get hit? I'm going to tell you straight up, Village People, am I going to get hit with the YMCA? Oh, you can't sing YMCA because it's Trump's theme. I breathe heavily here. But is it going to affect it because of the way the world is? I don't think it should. And should I have the freedom of speech to sing and do the YMCA without having any repercussions? Oh, we're not going to like him because he likes Trump, and he's a Trump supporter. Let's play devil's advocate. Say I was in the Village People tribute, okay, the Australian tribute, and I did YMCA and I didn't like Trump. What would happen? I can guarantee you that I would get hit again. I would say, nah, I would get labeled as a Trump lover. You're this, you're that. People are so petty.
What I most often come in contact with, or who the stereotype, I guess, mind state wise, of who I do business with, are people who are generally awake to some point or another about what's going on around them. But more importantly than that, people that are taking responsibility. People who understand that there's no man on a white horse coming in to save them. That if they're going to do the right thing here, they have to get off their butt and go do it themselves. And that is who I do business with. It's people that understand that they need to give me a call. They need to pop the order through the website. They need to take action, because it's all well and good knowing that, that being awake and aware and all of that. But if you sat there doing nothing about it, then in some ways you're worse off than the guy who's completely ignorant, because at least the guy who's completely ignorant to what's going on around him is happy. Ignorance is bliss. I mean, if you don't have that, but you don't have the rewards of doing the right thing and knowing the right thing to do and then doing it and profiting from it, you might as well be ignorant, as far as I'm concerned.
That makes total sense, because, I mean, as I said to you, I mean, we're sort of in a position where you go to work, you do this, you do that, and you're sort of barraged. It's a totally different world in especially the last 5 years.
It is.
So it's one of those things. Okay, so on this part, I want to know the 5 points, major points from Sam, founder of Liberty Bullion. If they came to you and wanted to say, right, Sam, I've heard about this gold and silver. I got no idea what's going on, just as I did.
Mm-hmm.
What are the 5 key points that you would tell them to get them aware and go, hang on a minute, this guy knows his stuff. Hang on, I'm going to start looking at this. What would you tell them?
Yeah, what a question. All right, point number one, gold is money, everything else is credit. JP Morgan said that. Yes, the same guy that, the big bank in America, JP Morgan,
Yep.
that guy. He said gold is money, everything else is merely credit. And he was talking about paper dollars when he said that. So start there. The second thing that I'll hit you with is if you directly translate the word finance from English to Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, and then back again, what do you get? You get the study of gold. The study of gold.
Really?
Right? The study of gold. Now, if you translate the word banking from English to Mandarin and then from Mandarin back again, you get moving silver. Moving silver.
Really?
Yes. So there you go. There's your first two. So that should immediately have you thinking about what is this stuff, right? What is this stuff?
Yep.
The third thing I'll say about gold and silver is the entire modern financial system is based off this stuff. It all started with goldsmiths who used to give out paper certificates saying your gold's safe with me in the vault. You get to carry the paper certificate around saying that we're good for it. That is where banknotes started. It started with goldsmiths, right? It all started from gold. Fourth, during the 1970s, the last time that inflation was as bad as it is today in the West, when inflation hit double digits in the US, we're talking over 10% inflation rates. What did gold and silver do? Gold went from $35 an ounce in 1971. It hit 850 US dollars per ounce in 1980, 9 years later. That means it went over 30x up, 30 times up in 9 years. If you put 10 grand in, you'd pull over $300,000 out 9 years later. What an investment. Also, silver did even better. Silver went from just over $1 per ounce US in 71, and it hit 50 US dollars per ounce in 1980. 50. That's an almost 50x. You put 10 grand in, you pull almost $500,000 out 9 years later. That's what gold and silver do when inflation gets really, really bad. And the fifth one, the big heavy hitter that I'll leave you with on this one is what does gold and silver do in a hyperinflation? Now, I mentioned that word earlier in this discussion. Guys, feel free to go research it. Go research the causes of hyperinflation. Go research what happens in hyperinflation. Don't take my word for it. But what did gold and silver do during the German hyperinflation of 1923, the one I mentioned earlier? Well, by the end of that hyperinflation, you could buy a 6-bedroom home in inner city Berlin for 5 ounces of gold. 5 ounces of gold, ladies and gentlemen. I'll sell you 5 ounces of gold today for just over 25 grand. That is the opportunity in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. So again, fact check everything I'm saying. Don't believe me on the front of it. Fact check what I'm saying. But once you have fact checked what I'm saying, and once you've come to the conclusion that what I'm saying is true, please take action. Please.
Mate, for part one, that's amazing. Wow. And again, mate, your knowledge, man, I'm just in awe of what, as I say, I'm really only come into it. Like, I've known about this stuff, but really investing time into this the last year or so. And mate, honored to have you here, mate. Seriously. Give us a little bit of a plug for Liberty Bullion. We've got whereabouts are you? Usual.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, pleasure to be here with you, Jane. Seriously appreciate having me on. Liberty Bullion. So we're on Collins Street in Melbourne. So level 3 of 257 Collins Street. You can find that on our website, libertybullion.com.au. You'll also be able to check out all of the different products that we've got with live pricing. So there's prices on our website update every minute with the gold price or the silver price, constantly moving up and down. So feel free to check out the website. There'll also be a 03 number on there to call. So that's the office line. You can call us on that line between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday, or you can email us at sales@libertybullion.com.au. We'll get back to you as quickly as we can. So yeah, feel free to call in, email in, or you can walk into the office. You're more than welcome to just rock up if you'd like. And you know, you can buy through the website, you can buy over the phone, you can buy in person. We'll ship it directly to your door if you'd like. We can drop it downstairs to the Melbourne Vault if you'd prefer to vault it, or you can come into the store to pick it up. It's all up to you. So yeah, feel free to check us out, get in touch, and yeah, we'll look after you.
Fantastic. So that's part one, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, and I want to say thank you again to Sam, but he's come on as a supporter for a chat with Jay. I've always got his logo. He's very graciously allowed me to use his logo on every chat that I've had, especially I had the Village people on the other day, Sam. So I actually interviewed the Village people, the original Village, the Kings of Disco. I better watch it because, yeah, we'll talk about it on Patreon. But what a man. Thank you so much for that. Part two's coming up. It'll be on Patreon. We'll give you the link, and we're going to do some explosive stuff. It's going to be things that are going to make you think, go, hang on a minute, what the hell's going on? I think I might have to have a chat to the great man here. So thank you very much. Part one. It's been a chat with Jay, and I'll finish with my hero, Brett the Hitman Hart, as usual. Be the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. We'll see you on the Patreon page, and get ready for it. It's going to be like a main event. Saturday night's main event with Hogan versus Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. We never know what might happen. We'll see you soon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much, Sam.
Thanks, Jay.